Hi, thank you for joining me today, and today's process video is another scrap lift from the May I Scraplift You series created by Crystal Barrett of Pineapple Papers. I'll add her details down below along with the lady I'm scrap lifting today, and that's Gwen Wruck, and she is created by Gwen on Instagram. Again, I'll add all her details down below along with the playlist that Crystal has provided for us so you can see everybody else playing along in this fabulous hop. So you can see the layout I've chosen in the top right hand corner of this page. It's circles, and anybody who knows me knows I absolutely love anything to do with circles and dots. So this was an obvious choice for me. It's a picture of my daughter back in 2010, and I bought her this woolly headband from one of my friends who was crocheting them, and I knew she'd love it. And I just love this photo because the delight on her face, and I don't know whether you can see it in the background, but James is giggling as well, so I can't remember exactly what was going on, but they were obviously very excited about something. So I'm coming in with my Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous stamp, using these circles to start the background. I've used the purple Shimmers Vibes paint there in Princess, and also a gold watercolour paint of mine. So I'm just painting that Shimmers onto the stamp, and then I'm plopping that down on the layout, overlapping the gold and the purple here. So use the bigger circle twice, and then I'm going to use this smaller circle twice, just roughly cleaning the stamp off each time I go. So here I come in with that gold watercolour, and these are very, very similar to the ones that are in the Vicki Boutin collections. They're beautiful paints. If you get a chance to get your hands on them, I highly recommend it. So just adding that down there, and then I'm actually going to come in with some Vicki Boutin stamps as well. I wasn't quite happy with how opaque that top circle was, so I just came in with my paintbrush and added a little bit more gold there. So now I'm going to use my archival ink and these print shop stamps to add some more circles. First of all, going in with this one, which is like 3 outlined circles together. I'm just checking the positioning of the photo. No point in stamping underneath the photo, so I want these to peep out from around it. And then going in with this lovely patterned circle, all in archival ink, because the idea behind it is that I'm going to paint over the top of some of them, and I don't want that black to bleed. So this is a permanent ink. So just adding these semicircles now. And as you can see, I'm coming in now with the purple Princess Vibes and just creating a circle out of that semicircle there. And then the same at the bottom here. And I'll do some in the purple and some in the gold. I'm just sticking to the 2 colours on this. And I love, because they're slightly transparent, I really love the effect that you get. And of course, beautifully shimmery as well. So, and it's really therapeutic just colouring these in with a fairly wide brush. And then this one I just decided to add a circle of gold. And this bottom one I'm just going to add a circle of gold around the outside. And then colouring this one in. So now adding some splatters, and then once this background's done, I shall start on the paper layers. So splatters the gold first, and then the Princess Vibes. So I've pulled out some papers that have some circles on them, and I'm going to cut some of those out. First of all, the 6x8 paper pad had this beautiful paper on, so cutting 3 or 4 of those out to use. I won't make you sit and watch me do that. Pretty boring. But there's the first one. I'm going in to get this mustard one now, and then that pink and the burgundy. Next, I'm coming in with the vellum, and this has got beautiful gold foiling on, so I'm just going to trim around the edge of this. And she was 2 at the time of this photo, so it's very fortuitous that the 2 is in that beautiful purple that I've already used on the page, because she's got it in her t-shirt. So I'm going to add that down at the bottom there. So just adding some glue around the edge where the gold foiling is, because that won't show through the vellum. Next, this piece, I'm just going to rough up the edges very lightly with my edge distresser. And then I'm going to add that to some foam, and it'll go just to the left hand side of that photo there. So just using these 6x2 square foam pads to pop that up. These are some rings that I'd pre-cut from one of the 12 by 12 papers. So they are printed rings on the paper, interconnecting rings, but I just chose a half of one and one from a scrap that I had left over from previous layouts, so just adding those around. And again, distressing the edges of that before I pop it down. So shortly I will decide to get this photo stuck down, but a bit more embellishing first. So again, roughing up the edges of this circle. When it's a small item, I sometimes find it easier just to grab the blade of my scissors rather than fighting with the distress tool. So that one gets popped just underneath the photo there. And then I've got a purple one, and I'm struggling because I've got so much purple on this layout. I don't really want it touching another piece of purple, but it sits nicely there. And then this mustard one, I realise it's half going to be lost under the photo, so I've got half under the photo and then the other half at the top of the page. Because I've got a stamped image coming off the bottom of the page. I wanted to mimic that really at the top, so this piece worked really nicely up there. So I've pulled out one of our Flair badges from the print shop collection. Wasn't quite right, so I decided to go with the Love one, and then I'll pop that at the top there. So both Flair badges are from Hey Little Magpie. And it's at this point that I decide to get that photo stuck down. So I'm adding the foam squares again, just to give it height. And then it makes it easier to tuck things under as well. Just double checking with my T-square ruler that it is actually square. And then I can carry on. So I'm going to pop that purple camera badge up at the top, but I want to add some thread underneath it per Missy Wooden. So just adding the tangled thread there and then gluing the Flair badge down on top of it to hold it in place. And because I've done it under that one, I do the same under the Love one at the bottom. So I use about 1.5 to 2 arms lengths of thread to do these tangled nests. It's surprising how much you need actually. It sort of balls up into nothing. So just adding that down there. Then I've got one of the Canvas Flair badges. This, if you've watched any of my previous videos, I sometimes do a test print onto card just to see how they'll look. And I didn't want to waste them, so this is the Happy Days set. And that's just going down. So now these are the new bits and pieces we've got in Hey Little Magpie. Some gorgeous, puffy, sparkly, iridescent butterflies. So just using 2 of those, one of the hearts, and just gluing those down with some wet glue. And then looking to see what else I've got. Got some lovely little flowers. This is one of the brand new ones that we've got as a set. And then the tiny stars, padded stars, puffy stars. Just an orangey gold one there. And next I'm going to go through the chipboard just to see what else I can find. Straight away I find this word strip which I want to put at the bottom of the photo, and it says add laughter to your day, and I just think that matches that photo really nicely. And then I find a couple of little sprinkly bits to add down, some purple circles with gold hearts or gold circles with purple hearts, and some little gold chipboard pieces. This word sweet gets added to that circle. And then I find this chipboard butterfly, and if you look at Gwen's original, she has quite a few butterflies on hers, so I wanted to mimic that too. So one from the 6x12 sticker sheet. Just moving that piece out of the way, repositioning it down there. And just checking what else I can find on here. Look at how well I've used that sticker sheet now. Honestly, Vicki Boutin's collections, the bits that she puts in them are so usable. So now I want to add some stitching with some yellow wax thread. So I'm just using my pokey tool to poke the holes in place, and I'm just going to do a starburst through that purple circle. So So I put some foam behind so that the pokey tool wouldn't damage my desk. And now I'm just going to stitch back and forth, back and forth. While I was in my drawer looking for something, I found this flower that had been cut from a previous Vicki Boutin collection, and I thought that would go nicely, so I just added that to the bottom right corner. So as you can see, I'm just stitching in a starburst shape all the way around that circle. So that's that finished, just gluing down the back. And look at the difference that makes. I'm really happy with that. So I want to add another starburst at the top here. So I just choose a big ink blotch to be my centre, and then do exactly the same but on a smaller scale at the top here. So again, just securing that end in place and snipping it off. Next, I want to stitch the butterflies in place, so I'm going to create a body for them using the wax thread and a few stitches through, and then I'm also going to create their antenna using, if anybody knows sewing, I use a pistol stitch to create French knots at the end of the long strings so it looks like their antenna. So I've done that on that yellow butterfly at the bottom, and then I'm going to do it on the purple butterfly at the top as well. But the purple one, I'll use a purple wax thread rather than yellow. So that's the yellow one done, and here I am going in with the purple. And I just punch my holes first to make it easier before stitching through. So just gluing that in place. And there we go, round and round. So here I am creating that French knot at the end of the long stitch to create the pistol stitch. So that's the butterflies down. Just adding a few more bits, so another embroidered flower. That ties in nicely with the stitching that I've just done. And on the little stars down there. And then I have this from our printables, one of the pink hearts. So I decided to add an epoxy Flair badge to that. And that just goes in that bottom cluster. I try it in a couple of places, but it finds its home down there. Then I'm going through my drawer of Old Stash. So I pull out these enamel dots, which work really nicely because they've got yellow, pink and purple. So just adding some clusters of 3 around the page. I found I'm using enamel dots less and less as I use my Nuvo more and more. So just trying to use some of these up that I've got in that drawer there. And now my sequins. It's a sparkly layout, so definitely needed some gold sequins on it. So I'm just dotting some glue about the page, and then I'll add those sequins to the glue dots after I found that the easiest and quickest way to do it. And as I'm tidying up, you'll see I drop a couple, so I just end up gluing those down as well. So that one there, it just landed in a nice place, so I thought, why not? Next, some of my hole reinforcer rings in black, just to really bring that black around the page. I've got it on the ink from the stamping, and it's in the butterflies, and there's some in the photo. So I just wanted to bring that around the page, and when it's a circle layout, that seems an obvious choice, doesn't it? So doing my usual, just folding them in half ever so slightly, and then adding the glue to that crease. And just keep wanting to add more. It's definitely a very busy layout, this one, but I love it. I just think it encapsulates Amelia's happiness there. So this is a very old Ellie Studio tag that I found rolling around my desk. So I've just added the date there, 6th of May 2010. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to check everybody else who's joining in on this hop in the description box down below. And I shall see you again very soon for another process video. Thank you. Bye.